Hello, and welcome to Belting at Windmills, a proud member of the Doof Network, where we're experiencing James S. A. Corey's novel series, The Expanse. I'm longtime Expanse fan Elliot Diebold.
And making my first journey up the well, I'm Ruben Morehouse. This week we're continuing our coverage of Abaddon's Gate, covering chapters 40 through to 46. In these chapters, the counter coup is still underway, but the team is rallying and has a plan that will definitely not have any major fatalities of anyone's favorite characters or half of anybody's favorite ships, that's for sure.
Now, okay, isn't the counter coup? That's
Oh, sorry,
all.
you're right.
It's the counter coup.
We're only in the
going.
counter coup that's still underway. The counter coup is just getting started.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
This is the important.
Too far.
This is the important analysis people are here for.
There was a coup. There's a counter coup. Yeah, you're right. It's a counter coup. My mistake.
Yeah.
God, I hope they kill Ashford this time, just so we don't have to keep adding counters to that word.
Yeah, by book 9, it's really out of control.
Yeah, each book is just another counter to the coup.
Yeah, but they always let Ashford. They just imprison him. He's like the Joker.
Yeah. He keeps escaping from Arkham. What are we meant to do?
Space Arkham, though. This is a badass series. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, let's just get into it. We start with chapter 40 this week. Basically, Holden and his crew very quickly realize that shit's going on. And even though they're all injured as fuck, there's like multiple times where they point out that like Alex's skull is basically being held together by glue, which is just terrifying.
Yeah, a lot of the crew are in a pretty bad zone at the moment.
Yeah. But they basically manage to escape the hospital and get in contact with Sam, who gives them a place to hide out. And Amos does still kill some people along the way, and I just really wanted to call that out because this nurse comes across them right after that, and Amos is like standing over the bodies, and she I think Holden's just like, "There's nothing to see here," and she's like, nobody will find them in that storage closet," and just sort of walks off.
Yeah, so either she recognizes Ashford's men and is not a fan, or she's just fucking ride or die for some murder.
Just, like it does. It sounds like the hospital staff here have been so overworked the last week, at least. So like it might just be the point where she's like, I don't have the bandwidth to deal with killers. Like, just keep your shit out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, but if that was the case, you wouldn't necessarily be like actively helpful, right? You'd just be like,
true.
Whatever, and then kind of walk on. You wouldn't be like, yeah, chuck them in the, this closet.
Well, she doesn't want it turning into a whole thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, Holden and Naomi kind of immediately attribute this to like she recognized Holden, and so, but like,
right,
that makes
sense.
That's what the book wants us to think that, but like, I also just really like the idea that especially Holden just kind of leapt to that conclusion kind of on his own.
Yes, he has an inflated view of his own importance in the universe, doesn't he?
Yeah, like the book very much gave me the impression it wants me to think that he's right or whatever, but I just really like making fun of Holden, so I feel like I want a headcanon that actually it may have had nothing to do with that. It's just his first thought. And I mean, the first half of this book was him thinking he'd been chosen by an alien superpower, so like it's in character.
Yeah.
There's also, I mean, Amos is continuing to just spit out bangers all the time. He takes a gun from one of the people he kills, and Holden's like, whoa, we don't want to get into a gunfight. And Amos is like, yeah, but if we're in one anyway, it'll be nice to have guns.
A good line. My favorite Amos line in this chapter was at the end when they're talking about whether there's going to be violence, and Amos says, "Man can hope." Classic.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to talk about Amos. He's obviously got some stuff coming up with Anna soon that I really want to get into. But I honestly, so obviously people who are following along with the podcast know, like, the last episode only came out a couple of days ago as we're recording this one.
Yes.
The Abaddon's Gate 6 was a bit of a cursed episode on multiple fronts. and I had sort of lost a bit of the momentum of where exactly we were in the story by the time I sat down to write notes for this one. I was so happy that this was the first chapter, because this chapter can essentially be summarized as Holden gets caught up on what's been happening to all the other characters.
Yeah, it's fun that it's fun that they've decided to put this chapter in for us, but it does make me wonder. I wonder what this chapter feels like for the people who are, reading this book in the normal way that people read books.
Yeah, yeah. Like I guess I feel like we had some ones early on in Caliban's War where you're a bit like, this chapter was just meet the crew, but I just met the crew. Like, I didn't
Yeah,
have the year off that other people did. But this is different from that, because the
it's in
normal
the middle
person
of the
doesn't
book.
have.
Yeah,
Yeah, um, yeah. I don't know. It's handy, and you do get, there's always that fun stuff where we sort of get to see. Like, I do really enjoy when Sam starts talking. She's like, and then, like, Bull's doing this, and like, I don't know what's happening with Pa, and Holden's like, okay. I don't know who these people are. Like, I don't. Please, please, just tell me what's important. Like, I have no idea who you're talking about, and it's just funny.
yeah, yeah. Um, Something that this chapter flags to me is, Holden talks to the crew about, more stuff that he's been speaking to Ghost Miller about, and that them firing this weapon is probably going to lead to the space station just writing off all of humanity and fucking nuking them or whatever, right?
Yeah, which, like, to be fair, I think he's leaping to conclusions a little bit there, but
Yeah, but it seems fair enough. I mean, at the very least, this weapon is going to, well, obviously kill everyone here, but also I think just not work. I think
yeah.
Holden seems pretty clear that they'll be able to counteract this just because they're super space aliens.
Yeah, no, I guess I wanted to call it out because Holden does have a habit of leaping to wildly inaccurate conclusions.
mm,
And he's leaping to a conclusion here, but I think for once it's like, you know what? Sensible. Like, a bit of a leap, but like genuinely a possibility we have to consider.
well, it's an interesting thought because it made me think as well. Like it, we obviously know the slow zone is happening here. Do we have any confirmation that other humans slash belters, I guess, I don't know if we call humans belters humans or
Yeah,
not.
no,
I
that
think we do,
counts.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Whether they're experiencing any kind of slow zone thing as well, we don't know that, right? But I mean,
Um,
like, based on what Holden's saying here, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
the first slow zone. Wait, the
Oh,
slow
you're
zone was
right,
already.
because
Yeah,
it was from what's his face going through on the
yeah,
spaceship, right? So I guess we know that that's not the case. Okay, anyway, the other thing I was thinking about was wondering whether Cortez will be able to back down from this. Obviously, Ashford we see is just too far gone. There's just no chance. But if Cortez hears about what firing this weapon is going to do, I wonder what his reaction would be. Like, I mean, practically, I think if that does happen, his reaction will be that he just doesn't believe them. But
yeah,
it's fun to just like, it would be fun for him to know that his like guilt-ridden ideas on how to save humanity, guilt and ego-ridden, I should say, ideas on how
yes.
to save humanity are just like purely dumb.
Yeah, no, it's fun to imagine that, like, the thinks he's humbled, but is actually just being as self-centered as he was, possibly even more. Cortez, like, having to confront the fact that he has actually regressed and not progressed when it comes to, like, not being a selfish
Mm,
twat.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but you're right.
yeah.
I think if he tunes into Monica's broadcast and that comes up or something, he'd just be like, "Ah, it's
He's just going to
propaganda."
ignore it. He's too far in denial now, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a reasonable, well, not really, but like, is it understandable sunk cost
Yeah,
fallacy where
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
when you're
sure.
in that deep, yeah. But anyway, so we start the next chapter. It's Bull's chapter, and this pretty much immediately starts with him meeting Holden and the crew. They've been sent by Sam to collect him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a little disappointed that this is what passes for his allies now. Um, but he, puts up with it, I guess, and starts working with them to make a plan to storm engineering, because Ashford's taken engineering and command.
Mm.
But apparently, the thing is, if you can take engineering, you really control the ship. So that's what they're going to focus on.
Yeah, engineering, and really their goal is to stop the laser beam firing, right? So
Yeah,
taking engineering seems like the right way to do that as well.
yeah, true. Like their top priority isn't taking back the ship; it's just sabotaging the laser.
Yeah. Um, Bull is, mulling over whether he could have avoided this situation by killing more people, e.g., Ashford or Melba at the very least. Well, I guess Melba wouldn't have avoided this situation really, but spacing Ashford definitely would have. But then, having said that, like maybe he would have spaced Holden too, and that will probably prevent them from solving this problem now. So, on balance, I think Bull, you probably did it okay.
Hmm. But this is something Bull's thinking about a lot in the chapters this week is like how he's going to be remembered if they get out of this. So like what did he do more good than
Mm,
harm? It's yeah. I guess this thought about killing more people is particularly interesting because like something that defined him very early on in the story was when he just like spaced that dude who was drug dealing or something on the Behemoth,
yeah,
like back when that was as big as the problems got.
yeah.
Um, and like that was pretty brutal and heartless, but also it did kind of work out for him big picture. Because I don't think that was the thing that made Parr and Ashford actually fuck him over.
No,
Uh,
I don't think so either.
so yeah, he's had some success, I guess, with being kind of a heartless monster, and I think I don't know that it's gone anywhere yet, but it's really fun to think about, like in what is currently this war on the behemoth is essentially a war for like whether these bold humans who've gone to the new frontier deserve to live. Um, and it's fun to like as a kind of side question to that Bull's asking is like if I'd been more evil for good, would that have been helpful?
Mm.
It's just always an interesting question, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Because it's like, I mean, would he have spaced Ashford? It's pretty brutal to have done that because Ashford's crime was being dumb, but like they took command pretty bloodlessly until
Yeah.
now, and so it would have been, I think, pretty rough if they had done that.
Mm. Yeah, but I guess it's an interesting reflection, and we get a few of them like here, like a reflection on Bull's character that I guess he's considering amongst his regrets not being harsher. Like that says a lot about a character, I guess, that he's like like if I could go back in time and be more evil, but to do good, like I'd do it. Um,
Yeah, and I think that's probably fine in hindsight, but
yeah,
I don't think
yeah,
it's a good thought if that then leads to, and therefore I'm just going to space anyone who disagrees with me on minor
yeah,
things. You
exactly.
know what I mean? Just in case.
Yeah, like he hasn't taken those next steps, but it's like there's like it feels like the start to an interesting journey, I guess, here of Bull learning to understand how to I don't know
Mm,
balance like utilitarianism with like being human.
mm, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I also just wanted to call out some quotes we get from Bull, basically when he realizes that the person Sam has sent him for help is James Holden. Um, He's basically like, "This was who Sam had meant when she said she knew who she could trust." And she had a point. Holden was outside every command. His reputation was built on being a man without any subtext.
Mm,
And then Holden starts like explaining to Bull about like the visions he had in the ring station, and Bull's like wow, I'm actually like I believe him, and it's like maybe it's the depth of James Holden's own belief that does this. Maybe it's just like a talent he was born with, but Bull felt a growing respect for James Holden, the same way he'd respect a rattlesnake. The man was dangerous just by being what he was.
yeah, but then he's calling him a rattlesnake, but then pretty soon he's like, "Yeah, you can be my second in command, mate."
Well, to be fair, if I thought the rattlesnake could understand me, I would
You'd want a
absolutely.
rattlesnake as your what, like fucking demon from those Philip Pullman books, I guess.
Yeah, oh, I was more thinking like the dragon from Mulan, but yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay, fair enough. And his name, I think, is Mushu, buddy?
Yeah, Mushu. I guess the point is, if you're going into a battle and you have a rattlesnake that you like can believe is on side, I'd hire it.
Yeah. I think my impression of Jim Holden is he's all rattle, no snake, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's the thing, everybody thinks he's a rattlesnake.
Yeah, true.
Um, so and he was kind of snaky in book 2 for a bit there. I mean,
That's
he grew
true.
out of it
That's
because
true. When he
Naomi
was trying to
dumped
be
him.
more like Miller.
Yeah.
um, yeah, there's some lines in here that I think are pretty interesting from Bull when he's kind of feeling embarrassed about his condition and then like kind of freaks himself out because he realizes he should be more embarrassed about putting civilians in the line of fire. I'm just like, yeah, Bull's kind of this chapter is Bull mulling over his morality, I guess, right? And I'm just kind of
Yeah.
like, Bull, this is good stuff. Like, you want to be doubting yourself. You don't want to be so. You don't want anyone in a position of military authority to ever feel too sure about themselves, I think. Or you get, Ashford.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like Bull's this really interesting kind of investigation into like I guess a military follows orders kind of character in a way that I think is largely going over my head. But yeah, like that's such a good point. Is that the fact that he doubts himself is really a big part of what separates him from Ashford. Well, I mean,
Right?
Ashford doubts himself, but in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also like I have to admit, I think it is like relatably upsetting that like to be like embarrassed about something he can't help, like having a broken spine.
Yeah.
Um and, like feeling like that's what he's meant to feel ashamed of, not, yeah, like you said, the fact that he's about to send a journalist to the front line. Um
Mm.
like there's something very relatably like stupid machismo about that, I guess. It's like, and yeah, like I don't know. Like I Bull's such a fascinating character. I feel like I don't get him, but like I'm interested in him.
Mm. Yeah. 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 I'm with you there for sure.
But anyway, so this is where we get introduced to phase 1 of the plan to take engineering, and phase 1 is the distraction. So basically, the gang's asking Monica to do like an inflammatory broadcast about how shit Ashford is and about how their plan's better. Um, and they want to get Anna to help her because, like, of course, you'd want Anna to do that.
Mm. Yeah, look, it's a fun idea, and it's a good way to get Anna involved in the plot here. I think it is funny that Holden is kind of the old go-to for getting on camera, but now that everyone kind of hates him, it's not the right play anymore. And then, there's mention of Bull kind of enjoying Holden's like guileless honesty earlier on in this chapter. So then Anna, has that exact same thing,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, it works nicely.
Yeah, Anna's continuing to live up to like the read of her as Holden, but good.
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed it as well because I think I remember the first time I was reading this, I just defaulted to thinking they'd have Holden on the broadcast because he already knows Monica, um, and that's kind of his whole thing. Um, but no, like you hear like, oh, we want to put Anna behind the camera, and you're like, fuck, that's such a good idea. It's like literally this whole book has been people being like, fuck, you're good at this.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I also want to call out. I think it's really funny that Monica's main objection to this is actually that she doesn't want to do propaganda. Um, like she plays the classic journalist character card, and it's like, look, I'm fine with my life being on the line, but I draw the line at propaganda.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. She's an interesting one.
like it made me realize, like we haven't really. She's been a minor character,
Mm.
but she's a really funny other foil to hold it in that, like, as a journalist, her job is actually to do this kind of like mass broadcast of the truth. Like she seemingly has built a reputation on like telling the truth and broadcasting it. So she's kind of like a professional Holden. Um, and what like I just kind of I want to get to know her better.
Yeah. I'm really interested to hear something that we haven't really heard from her yet, which is like, what was her reaction to finding out that she was kind of set up to be a way to get Holden killed, and then I guess just to die in the crossfire? I'm interested to hear what her yeah, I don't know, yeah, how she would
Yeah,
react to that.
because we had the like immediate response from her and her crew, which is like we weren't involved, like blah blah blah. But like it does seem like Holden and the rest of the crew were like, okay, we'll fine, bye. But like they're acting pretty chummy here, so which makes sense. They spent months shipping together, but
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, chapter 42 is the next one, and we're on the other side with Clarissa.
Mm.
She and team Pew Pew Big Laser Cool are waiting for Sam to make the said big laser that's cool.
Yeah. She's. It seems crazy to say. Do you think she's the most mentally stable person in this room?
Look, we don't know enough about like JoJo. I'm just seeing like the other like nameless minions
Sure,
to know for
yeah.
sure.
Of the big three, at least, Ashford, Cortez, and her. She seems to have the strongest grip on reality, which is weird.
I think her and Cortez might be like he's slipping, but like he
Yeah,
might at this point in the story he might still have her.
yeah,
But
okay.
it's becoming a neck and neck race, which it really shouldn't be.
Yeah, I am quite interested to see, is Cortez or Clarissa gonna slip further first? Because they both feel like they're riding the line, you know?
On their like, I think what's really funny is they both keep hesitating, and the other one like drags them back down. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, they're really, yeah. They're lowering each other down the crevasse, aren't they?
yeah, like Cortez has a number of moments here where he like tries to bail out basically, and like Clarissa gets him back on side.
Yeah.
Um, I do want to say though, like in terms of Clarissa doing better, there's this great bit where one of the first things that happens is like Cortez sidles up to her and starts like talking up her dad and like what a brilliant man he was, like blah, blah. And like internally in her mind, she's just like, "This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life."
Mm.
And it was this little moment of like, oh hey, like Clarissa thought a thing that's correct.
Yeah.
like and she recognized that Cortez was just doing this to try and like curry favor with her, and it was all schmoozing, and it's just like okay, like this is this is great. I think she also like makes note, she's like, Ashford doesn't really care about me, he just wants me as like a trophy piece because of what I represent. um and it's just like like I don't think she's ever read a room this accurately before.
Yeah. Um yeah, no, the thing that got me about this was like she had this thinking about her dad, and it was not with any kind of admiration, but with this like real blankness that felt like she was dancing around the topic in her head of he's an idiot. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she felt like she wasn't quite ready to say it, but she was definitely thinking it. Um and I think that's really fun.
Yeah, like I think one of the things she also says is that she can't remember what her dad looks like. She's like, I remember like the energy and like the vibe he had when he entered a room,
Mm.
but like I don't think I remember what he actually looks like, which is a very like straightforward kind of on the nose. But it's like, yeah, okay, like we're really hitting that. Clarissa's starting to realize she didn't know this fucking guy. Um, but yeah, it's like it's sort of like it feels like Clarissa keeps taking one step forward, two steps back. Um, like
Yeah.
we'll get to her next chapter in a bit, but yeah, there's these moments here where it's just like, okay, yeah, she's starting to think about her dad and some of the people he hung out with a bit more accurately, at least.
Mm. Yeah, 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 yeah. She's getting there. Yeah, it's interesting. She feels like she's both getting more deluded and less deluded over the course of this chapter, right? Like she's
Yeah.
kind of breaking free of the webs in front of her eyes, but kind of desperately still diving down the abyss to try and get them back. And I think that's really interesting. We don't know which it. Yeah, we don't know which side is going to win out. It really feels like you don't know which one's going to get there.
Yeah, yeah. Like I also, I guess, something Clarissa slash Melba has made a habit of doing, that I've tried to call out as much as possible, has been making these wild comparisons between herself and like other things.
Mm.
Um, and she has one in this chapter where she's like, She wondered how the behemoth felt about being the behemoth and not the Nauvoo. She wondered how she felt about being Clarissa Mao, not Melba Ko. Would the ship feel the nobility of its sacrifice? Lost forever in the abyss, but with everyone redeemed by her sacrifice? The symmetry felt meaningful, but it might have only been the grinding combination of fear and uncertainty that made it seem that way. And I finished reading that for these notes, and I was like, oh my god, Clarissa just made a comparison that actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah, no, this is how you know Melba's well and truly gone.
Yeah, it's like not only does that actually map, but also at the end she thinks to herself, "This may not be as good a connection as it feels right now because of my emotions." And I was like, "Who the fuck is this woman?"
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's interesting. I mean, at the first part of this chapter, you're like, yeah, Clarissa, you're killing it. Then we get to the second part of the chapter, and Clarissa's just like fully on board with the crazy shit that happens.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, let's get there because yeah, it's a funny wild ride with her at the moment. Um, but the second half of this chapter is actually a little bit less defined by Clarissa and more defined by the fact that Ashford realizes Sam is stalling and just straight up kills her, shoots her in the head, she's
Boom.
dead.
One shot.
Um, Cortez is pretty horrified by this because he didn't realize their plan to kill everyone would involve killing people.
I know. Yeah,
Um,
God. Yeah, Clarissa's response is like, does it matter if she dies now or later? Like, we're killing everyone, right, Cortez? And he's like, thank you for helping me remember that. What a fucking loser.
yeah. He's like, oh, I did need to be reminded of that. So you shouldn't be in charge if you can't keep that fact in your brain, my dude. Like that's not a high abstract thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, like this is very funny. This is just like wow, Cortez is really a self-aggrandizing, pompous fuckwit when it's like, oh, but killing them with our like their blood is on our hands directly. No, 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 no. I only kill indirectly in large numbers.
Um, but the other interesting thing from here is how much Sam reminds Clarissa of Anna
Mm-hmm.
and how
Mm-hmm.
much that sticks in Clarissa's mind, which considering their one meeting, well, sorry, they
Yeah,
obviously met on the ship when she was a
sure.
Terminator, but their one meeting since Melba became Clarissa, she really was like pretty aggressive and non-responsive towards her, right? So it's interesting to know that Anna actually clearly stuck into Clarissa's mind quite strongly.
Yeah, we see it even more in the next Clarissa chapter too, but like Anna
Mm.
is living rent free in this girl's head. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Um
Yeah.
and yeah, because like you said, like we saw her have the meeting with Anna and it seemed to go pretty well. But then by the time Cortez showed up and he started speaking his thing, like I remember Clarissa's thing was like, yeah, what the fuck was she talking about with forgiveness? Like, what a bitch. Like, fuck her. I'm going with Cortez. And now she's actually gone with Cortez, and I guess spending 5 minutes with Ashford and Cortez, like her subconscious is going, I don't know, maybe we maybe we called it wrong.
Mm. Yeah. Um, but she's just going to keep diving down the abyss and hope that it all pans out.
Yeah, I mean, she's pretty determined. So,
Yeah.
um, I do want to call out, like, I guess, just in terms of like these insanity of Clarissa slash Melba shining through a bit. Um, well, you mentioned that Sam reminds her of Anna, and there's this bit where she thinks to herself, like, she was the enemy, and so she deserved to die, even though she had red hair like Anna. It's just like, sorry, what in the
Yeah.
like 4-year-old logic? It's just okay, good. This is the crazy psycho that I know and love. She's still in there.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that redheaded people don't deserve to die. Whoa, what are you talking about, Clarissa? Is that what you're trying to say, Elliot?
Only because Anna has red hair.
Yeah, yeah,
Before Anna, it didn't matter, but now
yeah.
Anna's been in the
Right.
picture.
I
Yeah,
get you. Okay. No, yeah. Clarissa is the one who I'm most excited to continue to see over the
yeah,
course of the end of this book. I think she will get some real fun times.
yeah. I also like again, just a little note. Somebody uses like a vacuum to start vacuuming up Sam's blood because obviously it's
Mm,
like spreading around the zero G cockpit,
yeah.
and she notes that when the vacuum goes into the like glob of blood, the tone of it drops half a tone from E to D sharp, which is just such a funny detail because it's such a psychotic thing to think, but also if you're musically trained, like you would. So
Perfect pitch. It comes in
yeah,
even when you don't want it to.
like, it's such a psychotic way to analyze the thing she's watching, but also, yeah, kind of, and it's been established that music was a big thing for her. So yeah.
Mm.
Um, but anyway, we'll leave Clarissa for a bit and jump back into Holden's head. So basically, Bull and his team are like getting ready to start assaulting engineering. So Holden just grabs a coffee with Monica, um, and they have a chat. It's on the record, but not on camera because he's not a big enough deal to be on camera anymore. But he's still always on the record with her, which I think is funny.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, just a bit of coffee and chit chat between these two old friends.
You're right. Like I hadn't really thought about it, but it's wild that more of the like, hey, so about the whole last time we were together thing it doesn't come up. Like, do you remember when my blind camera guy like almost got us all killed? Like, sorry about that.
Mm. Yeah. Oops.
Also, it's worth mentioning. I think it's in this chapter, but like, so Tilly and Anna arrive, and basically, oh, no, I think it's the next one, but like, basically, like one of the defining qualities of Monica to people like Tilly is Monica has the best coffee on the ship.
Yep. I love that.
It's just like I love that with all the shit that's happening right now, like Tilly's somehow still able to focus on, but she has the good coffee.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what's important.
Um, Also, there's a great like blink and you'll miss it line here where Holden's telling Amos that he wants Amos to protect um, Naomi and Alex.
Mm.
And he says, like, I want you to take command of the defense here. What's the shit hits the intake?
Mm.
And I love the idea that it's morphed from hits the fan to hits the
It's
intake
the intake. I know.
in space.
I love that as well.
Like that's such a great little bit of world building that's just been slipped in, and it would be so easy to miss.
Yeah. No, it is a very fun. It's the kind of fun stuff that you get in sci-fi. Just little
Yeah,
bits of
yeah.
language evolution that it's very cute to just see.
It's yeah. Like it'd be if I was gonna ever try and write something, I feel like that would be one of the most fun parts of writing it for me is having those little bits. Where it's like 'cause it's like this indirect window into what life is like in this other world. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so this is where Bull gets the news of what happened to Sam, and hilariously, he does get it from her replacement, who
Yeah.
is kind of the one that sold
Who's
her out to Ashford.
Yeah, she didn't really mention how she's the one who got Sam killed, does she?
I don't think she expected it. I think she really misread there's a reason she's in engineering and not HR, right? Like, I think
Mm.
she did not quite understand what was going
Yeah,
on.
what was being asked really
Um,
here?
but yeah, like it's very funny to me that Ashford like kills Sam in front of her and is like, "You have 2 hours to make this work. Off you go." And she basically just immediately on the way back is like, "Hey, Bull, please save me. Like,
Yeah.
I'll betray him. I'll do whatever. Just save me."
Yeah. Which, I'm glad it's working out like that. I'm glad it's not yeah, I mean, I'm glad she's not actually on his side, or seemingly at least.
Yeah. Um, it's also Amos has a terrifying
Mm.
reaction to this. Like I guess he goes quiet, and Holden sort of makes a note that it's like the flatness of his voice is somehow scarier than if he was angry, which I totally get that. But he basically like talks. Starts giving Holden orders. Like Holden's like, no, you kill this guy. Like none of this like virtuous shit that you do, like the hero white knight stuff. Like you find this guy and you kill him.
Mm.
Um, and like Amos, I just remember that we had that chat with him and Miller in Leviathan Wakes where he kind of was like, I don't really get right and wrong, so like I just let people like Holden and Naomi tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Um, so this is like I think this might be the first time we've seen him like believe in something so strongly that he'll talk to someone like Holden and be like, no, 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 no. Wait, I don't care about right and wait, you do the
Yeah.
murder.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary seeing Amos be that confident in his moral compass, I guess.
Yeah. My favorite bit here was definitely Holden recognizing that Naomi's grief is such more of a like reflection of love than the anger that Amos feels. I mean, maybe that's
Mm.
judgmental of reactions to grief, but I just really liked the way that Holden like felt that from Naomi. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, it's an interesting note because, like, Holden specifically calls out she never mentions the name Ashford. Like, it's all about like Sam is gone, and that's what I'm upset about. Yeah. Unlike Amos and himself, he's not really thinking about. She's not really thinking about revenge. Um, yeah, like I guess, especially after last episode, we had that bit where like Naomi was the one who led the charge on we should agree to keep quiet about Clarissa and maybe try and forgive her or whatever.
Mm,
Um, it feels like another bit where, like, I guess it's not really news to say that, like, perhaps Naomi is the most like emotionally intelligent member of the crew, except maybe Alex. I don't know. We don't know enough about him to say, but um, like, yeah, it's just interesting. I guess seeing if my best friend died, I'd find it really hard not to be angry at the person who shot them in the head.
mm.
Um, so it just feels like also it's a really interesting reflection of Naomi that she's like this. And we've sort of had two big beats in a row of her having these like intense emotional responses that I guess I'd say are not like my instinct at least.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but anyway, basically everyone has arrived. Like Anna and, and Tilly and stuff show up, and the plan is starting to come together. One part of their plan was that Sam was going to do the engineering work. That's obviously not happening anymore. So Naomi's going to have to go in her place because she's the next best qualified sort of engineer that they have on their team. Um, Everyone agrees this is a good idea except for Holden, but he gets outvoted. Uh,
Oh, Holden. He never quite gets what he wants with regards to Naomi, does he? She's always off on missions. He's like, no, you have to stay here in safety, and he'll
yeah.
eventually learn, maybe.
Yeah, eventually he'll get there. But yeah, I mean, so like that's basically the plan. Is Holden and Naomi a part of the team storming, engineering? Amos is staying like leading the people defending Anna and Monica because they're going to broadcast, and basically the whole broadcast is bait to get Ashford's attention. Um, and even Alex actually has something to do. He's got to go back to the Rosie and turn it off, which, like, I guess considering his skull is currently in multiple pieces, is still like pretty impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, yeah, this is the part where like we see Tilly through not Anna's eyes or Clarissa's, I guess, but Clarissa newer,
Mm.
so it doesn't count.
And also,
The
her eyes are not the most reliable.
yeah, yes, good point. Um, But, like, it's so funny because Holden just refers to her as, like, Anna's skinny friend. Um, but what's really funny is, like, she's, like, staring at everyone with these suspicious eyes and make me think she's, like, a bodyguard, and I just cracked up thinking about that because 'cause I'm like, Tilly would be the worst fucking bodyguard for so many reasons. Um, like, I think Holden's right that she's I think Tilly's quite good at reading people and, like, manipulating them or whatever. Um so Holden's right that she was kind of casing the room, but he's wrong about like what she uses it for.
Yes. she's she's interesting. I like that they're giving Alex more to do. I feel like there's this like maybe I'm just making this up. There's this vibe that he didn't have much to do in the previous books, and maybe there were readers or whatever who were like talking. Or we've definitely said it. I've definitely said it that Alex is kind of the fourth wheel of the crew, and they've been finding ways to make him a bit more useful, even though those ways are still kind of putting him a bit out of the way. But it's nice.
That's progress, yeah. Um, I like the idea. It's not the readers that they're responding to. It's not even our podcast that they're responding to 15 years in the past or whatever. Um, the person who played Alex in the original RPG read the first two books and was like, "Hey guys, what the fuck?
Mm.
My character was not this useless. He did more than just drive the boss."
Yep. He can actually do things too sometimes. He can
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
to Martian Marines. He can go and do little jetpack runs or whatever.
Yeah. Actually, I want to call that. So yeah, this chapter sort of ends with the Marines who captured Holden and then came and surrendered here. They're basically joining up.
Yeah.
Um, which is just fun because obviously there's some hilarious baggage between them and Holden, but also not really. Like it's this funny professional baggage, and also I always love when like alliances have to change because some other idiot's doing something worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I mean, we'll get into it soon, but also thank God for these guys that the Martian
Yeah, they're
signed up.
definitely they save the day in the next few chapters a bit, don't they?
Yeah. I also like I think as soon as they walk in and start like Holden makes note of the fact that they're immediately like scanning the room for threats and exits and stuff, and he's just like, oh,
Mm.
that's exactly what Bobby used to do.
Yeah,
Um
oh, so sad. I miss
it's
Bobby.
just but it's just this moment of like I guess like Holden knows firsthand how fucking terrifying these Martian Marines could be. Not only from the time that they came and like captured him.
Yeah. No, yeah, Bobby's a fucking machine. So if these guys are even 1/10 as tall as she is, then they'll be great.
But yeah, anyway, we'll get back to them very soon.
Yeah.
But for now, we've got to jump into an Anna chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And this chapter basically opens with Anna and Tilly, I think, having their first fight.
Oh, don't worry. They're still OTP.
But yeah, basically, Tilly implies that Cortez should suffer, and Anna is like, "How dare you?"
Mm,
And then Tilly's like, "Of course I fucking dare you. He's trying to kill us all."
mm.
Um, and yeah, they basically start really going at each other about this. Monica is also sitting there trying to contribute and not really succeeding, which is funny. But yeah, it's their first real fight.
Yeah. I'm interested to hear what you think about this. I'm kind of like, well, because they're kind of talking about Cortez in particular, but Ashford is the one that feels to me even more um, or Clarissa, who's like the poster child for do people deserve infinite chances at redemption. It's really like a topic that's on the mind of these characters, I guess, because of who
Yeah,
Anna is. um
yeah.
yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. I really liked Anna's point though, and it kind of echoes something that I was thinking about in Bull's chapter earlier. Certainty has no place in violence, right?
Mm.
Like, it's a good quote, and it's true. People who find themselves having to do violence should never be certain about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, for our listeners who are Parahumans fans, I feel like this was like one of the big through lines of Ward as well. Was that
Mm,
idea of like if you stop doubting yourself and you're the sort of person who's in these situations, that's when
that's
it's a
bad.
problem.
That's that's bad for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you walk out of situations being like, "Nah, nailed it, no regrets," like that's when people should start to worry.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, like there's a great quote, and I think she says like a college professor said it too or something, but it's like violence is what people do when they run out of good ideas. It's attractive because it's simple and direct. It's almost always available as an option. When you can't think of a good idea, when you can't think of a good rebuttal for your opponent's argument, you can always just punch them in the face. Um, and yeah, I love this because that so perfectly encaptures like Anna's worldview and
yes.
like her whole side of this argument.
Yeah.
And to go back to what you asked like a bit before, yeah, like I feel like I try to be an Anna, but like most people, I'm probably more of a Tilly.
Mm.
Where I'd find it really hard, like for Ashford or Cortez to like be willing to give them an inch for a very long time.
Yeah.
I'm impressed at people like Anna who can do it like day zero like this. I need time to cool off.
Yeah, but the cynic in me would say of Anna, she's not the one that's being forced to actually perform these acts of, like a benevolent violence or whatever. Like, um, so it's easier for her to say these things. Although, having said that, she does recognize that, like, Ashford is almost certainly going to have to die here. That's just like
Mm.
going to have to happen because of what's going on. So it's not like she's like unrealistic about circumstances forcing their hand.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny to contrast her with Cortez from a few chapters ago, where she's basically like, "Okay, we're gonna have to do this, and it goes against my morals, but like, what else? Like, we don't really have a choice." And it goes even more against my morals to let the human race get exterminated.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like it feels like she's kind of preemptively going through what we watched Clarissa have to talk Cortez through, which is like processing that there may be consequences to her actions. Um,
Mm,
yeah, yeah, I think it's fascinating because I think she's arguably too soft, but then also you need that voice. You need one, at least.
mm, yeah.
Like if you got 10 voices in your head giving you commands, you need at least one of them to be an Anna, or you're going to be in trouble. You know what I
It's
mean?
true. Yeah. Sorry, Elliot, how many voices do you have in your head giving you commands there?
7.
Okay, that's not medically significant, I think, until it gets above 9.
Okay, good. Um, But yeah, basically Anna and Tilly don't really resolve their issue, but just stop talking about it, like all good couples do. Um, and this is where Anna's like, "Are you sure we're going to be safe?" And Bull and Holden are like, "Yeah, we're leaving you with Amos. It's going to
Yeah.
be fine." He he just lost someone he really cares about, so he can't wait to get to killing. Um,
Mm,
and Anna has a very funny reaction to this, where she's equal parts kind of reassured and concerned. And I think it's the correct response.
mm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the thing about Amos is he killing people is kind of his zen relaxation place, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, there's this great bit where um, Anna's like, she says to Holden, she's like, he knows killing people won't make him feel better, right? And Holden's like, well, for most people, like I'd agree, but this might actually be a special case. I think it does actually make him feel better.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Um,
Anna and Amos are an interesting combination.
Yeah, like this is where she really goes through the meltdown of like she's allying herself with unrepentant killers,
Mm,
um, and kind of having to justify that to herself, and that in her head that takes the form of justifying it to her daughter, which I think like makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
Um, but it leads to this great quote right at the end of the chapter where she's like, "Good-hearted but unrepentant killers were not something she'd had to fit into her worldview before this." And she wasn't sure how it would work, but now she'd have to try.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I love that. Um,
so, like again, just so well encapsulates what I love about Anna, which is just like she doesn't kind of let this stop her or phase her. She's like, right, we got to figure out how to reconcile. Like it's like learning part of reality doesn't conform to her preconceptions. Just means she needs to like adapt her worldview, which is like such an admirable trait.
mm, yeah. Yeah. No, it's good that she is willing to adapt her worldview. I do think it's funny how much Amos is breaking the mold of Anna's worldview. And maybe that's just, again, to be, sorry, slightly hard on Anna, that she hasn't been in these kinds of situations before.
Well, I'm just gonna say it. I haven't either.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's easy to define a moral code in
Yeah.
isolation from some of the things that might make you really challenge that moral code.
Yeah, no, it's easier to sit behind a microphone and criticize fictional characters than it is to have the fate of the solar system
Well,
on your
I
shoulders,
wouldn't
for
go
sure.
that far. Doing a podcast is pretty tough, Elliot. Not everyone can do it.
Yeah,
Um,
patreon.com/doof media.
yeah, no, but I think Amos and Anna are an interesting combination for this reason. Like, yeah, I wonder. God, it makes me sad how we leave behind all our characters that we've learned in each book, because I feel like there is more to explore with a lot of these things. And Anna is
Yeah,
a character who I feel, even if every single chapter of the remaining whatever 8 chapters we have in this book or whatever it is an Anna chapter, it still feels like there's going to be so much left to explore with her. But I guess
I know.
leave them wanting more is a fine decision.
I think that sigh perfectly encapsulated the kind of fine that it is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I mean, like I think with the exception of Miller, there hasn't been a character where I've been like, boy, we're not done there. Like I'd be ecstatic if we saw Prax or Bobby again, or
Mm,
Avasarala, obviously. Um,
mm.
but yeah.
Hey, is I so it just occurred to me I had never looked up what Anna looked like in the show, and so I just looked her up on the wiki.
Mm.
Not reading any of the text for fear of spoilers, but she's not a redhead.
No, I was very torn about this because I'm a huge Elizabeth Mitchell fan.
Who is I'm
Um,
not familiar with her. Who is
yeah,
she?
she played one of the like main. It's a, we were she was in Lost.
Oh, okay,
And
sure.
she played like a pretty crucial character in Lost. And so I was really excited when she got announced as playing Anna because I was like, oh, I love her. And it was like, she doesn't really. I think she captures Anna's energy better than the physical description in the book, which is what's important. But
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
it is funny reading the book because her being a redhead like comes up a lot.
Well, okay, hold on. I'm also realizing I don't know what Sam looks like, so let me just check. Do they have the
Yeah,
same color hair?
I
Answer:
d-
Sam is brunette.
yeah.
So there you go. How interesting. So what's Clarissa obsessing about then?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, no, honestly, it'd be fun. Abaddon's Gate is maybe the book that got the most altered for the show. Um,
Mm,
so that could be fun to talk about one day. But yeah, no, it is like Elizabeth Mitchell does a great job, but it's definitely like when you first hear the casting, you're like, but that's not what Anna looks like.
mm,
Um, and yeah, I agree. Like Anna and Amos in particular are such a fun duo. I think we talked about it in our last episode, but they're both playing off each other so well. Like not just with Anna coming to terms with the idea of like a good-hearted, unrepentant killer like Amos, but there's this bit where she kind of confides in Amos for a bit, and she's like, "I'm so nervous. Like, what if people don't listen to me? Like, what do I do?" And Amos is just like, "Yeah, that sounds like a bitch. Like, my job's way easier. I just have to
yeah,
kill
just gotta
people."
shoot people. Love
like, I
that.
just I just have to shoot a gun. You got to figure out how to convince everyone to turn their engines off. Like, fuck, I don't know. I don't know how I do that. And like, it's so hilariously honest that it kind of works and actually like gets her to focus, which is hilarious. But like, there's also a reciprocal one where I think when Anna comes up to him and like tries to connect with Amos as a person, and she's like, what you're doing here is really brave and really means a lot. And he's like, "Fuck, you must be a really good preacher. Like, I feel the best and worst that I've felt in a long time."
Mm,
Um, it's just like every interaction with these two is like, I think Anna is such a genuinely good person, and Amos is like struggling to fit that into his worldview. Um,
mm,
like I don't know, they're just such a fun duo.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
But yes. Anyway, let's get into the action. Uh, it's time for chapter 45. We're back in Bull's Head. And he and the team, which also includes Holden, are trying to take out engineering. It's basically as they're heading out, Bull is like, "Man, this is a shit show. We just kind of improvised most of our weapons. Like,
Mm.
we're not really prepared. We're just going in with a half-assed plan." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Mate, you work for the OPA. Like, this is like what is it? How is this not your status quo by now? That describes this entire behemoth mission."
Yeah. it's it's all a shit show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Except for one thing, and that's these Martian Marines who
Yeah.
basically do this whole mission by themselves, four of them with a grenade, a few bullets, and a fucking prayer. They are so good.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that basically covers the summary of the rest of the chapter, which is thanks to the Martian Marines, the mission is a success.
Yeah.
Um, I guess everyone else was useful in that they acted as human shields to protect the Martian soldiers.
Yeah, exactly. They
Um,
did their job.
but yeah, no, there's like a lot of great quote because as they're kind of riding in their slow ass little like lunar rover to up to engineering.
Mm,
Um, there's some great like Holden and Bull are sort of talking, and the oh yeah, sorry, they're sort of talking, and Bull's talking about like throwing a grenade into engineering, and Holden's like, "Isn't that a bad idea?" And
mm.
Bull's like, "Worst case scenario is we lose and Ashford kills the entire solar system. Losing containment on the reactor and we all die is actually second worst."
Yeah. Yeah, if they have to detonate the ship, it's not the worst thing in the world.
No, exactly. And like, yeah, Holden just sort of like nods and is like, yeah, that's never a sign things have gone well. And I'm just like, yeah, you know what? Actually, Holden, this is the third book in a row where you found yourself in the situation of, well, if everyone on the ship dies, at least that's not the worst thing that could happen.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that's nice. It's nice to have that safety net, I guess, in your final seconds.
Um, but yeah, like you said, so basically, one of the Martian Marines reveals that he smuggled some grenades on board, which Bull is a little upset by, but in the context, it is not going to hold it against them. Um,
Mm.
but I like this. They sort of they throw the grenade, and then anyway, something detonates, and two bodies like pinwheel out into the empty air. And I, I guess I just never thought about how funny ragdolling in Zero G must be.
Mm.
Like, it must have come up in some video game or something, but, like, just, like, imagining the Wilhelm screams on, like, spinning bodies in Zero G is just an extra level of funny.
Yeah. Yeah. It's again something that I think would sell really nicely in the show. Just the like slapstick vibes of Zero G. Although Zero G stuff, I guess, is expensive, so I don't know how much they did that kind of stuff in the show.
Yes, I don't remember it, but maybe I just wasn't paying good enough attention. Yeah. Oh, I have to check that out on the next rewatch. But, yeah, so this is where, like, Bull we haven't really been talking about it, but, like, Bull's, like, struggling, physically, and I'm actually not talking about the, like, paraplegia from the tits down. Um,
Mm.
he is constantly still, like, coughing up, like, globs of stuff.
Yeah, he's not doing great.
No, like, it doesn't feel like he can keep this up for another couple of days,
Mm.
but I think what's funny is he sort of thinks to himself as this is going on. He's like, nobody would have thought less of him if he'd stayed behind. Except he didn't care what people thought about him. It was Ashford who cared about that. Um, and I like this because like that line is true, kind of,
Mm.
but also like Bull spent like I don't think we've had a Bull chapter where he hasn't like thought about what Fred would think about what's going on right now.
Mm.
Ashford definitely has a toxic relationship with his reputation, and like that's a fair dig. But also, like Bull's kidding himself if he thinks he's not equally as motivated by how others are going to think of him. Um,
Yeah.
like we called it out earlier in this episode, but the amount of times in the back half of this book, he's literally been sitting there thinking like, oh, I hope when this is all done, people will think that I did more good than bad. Um, yeah, it's like Bull cares about that. He just cares about it in a healthier way.
Yeah, he's just less obsessed with ego. He still cares what people think of him. That's not a bad thing.
No,
It's yeah, it's just a toxic trait if you have this like level that Ashford does.
yeah, exactly. Oh, and Ashford is so concerned with like it's not like saying how they think of him doesn't quite capture it, but it's like he wants people to think of him a certain way, um, but doesn't like align his actions to that. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like, it's
Mm.
like Bull just sort of reads the room and is like, oh, I'm not like coming across how I want to. I better adjust. Um,
Mm.
in a way, Ashford doesn't tend to.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's the willingness to adjust that is the real
Well, yeah.
differentiator.
Um, but yeah. Anyway, the taking of engineering is successful, and so we jump into Clarissa's head for our final chapter this week. Um, and basically, Ashford watches all this happen on the CCTV and has like a hissy fit. Uh, oh, actually, no, sorry, I take that back. I've jumped ahead. Ashford actually just initially has a hissy fit because Monica starts broadcasting about the better plan to save humanity.
Mm.
Um, and basically Bull's way of baiting him into sending all of his troops to the wrong place works like a fucking charm. Um,
Yep.
but I
Oh
think we've got
boy.
to call out this is where like the like Clarissa, what are you doing vibes really hit the
Oh
ground
yeah,
running.
this is
Um,
rough.
so Cortez starts like questioning whether Ashford really should worry about this broadcast, and Clarissa just sort of puts her hand on his shoulder and shakes her head and goes, "No, no, he's the father. This ship is his house."
Mm.
And of course, Ashford's like, "Thank you. I'm glad someone understands how this works," because of course he is. But like, just reading that, I was like, "Oh, Clarissa, why? You fucking idiot." Oh,
She's
so good.
yeah, it's her still just kind of, I don't know, yeah, slipping further and further into the abyss, or like trying to push herself back into the Melba mindset.
It's just like last chapter, we find like you said, we finally had her having some like negative thoughts about her dad, and I was like, maybe this is going well. And then she opens this chapter with like, no, 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 he's the father. He gives
Mm.
the orders. It's like, oh
Yep.
fuck,
Oh, Clarissa.
like there's so much to unpack here.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
this again, this is where Anna comes up a bunch of times, and we really see like I guess it's just always funny to me like how supernaturally good Anna is at being a preacher that she's still living like rent free in Clarissa's head after that one meeting.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Why? Why is that? I mean, I guess we know why. It's because Anna offered her something that she's never really had. Um,
Human
but
kindness.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I guess also something that's interesting is in both chapters, but especially this one, Clarissa is constantly making note to herself that like basically she's got this intrusive voice that keeps like interrupting some of her thoughts with like you're just trying to distract yourself.
Mm.
Um, and there's always a little too much going on for her to really engage with it. But she does seem curious at the idea that there's something she's distracting herself from, but she doesn't know what it is. I'm curious what your thought on this is.
Huh. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess when I read this, I just assumed it was her distracting herself from like the f- the thoughts about Anna and like the fact that she could have some kind of redemption, right? Like,
Yeah,
but the fact that you're landing on this is really interesting to me. Like, is there something more plot? It just to me felt of the vibes of the battle between Clarissa and Melba, and her distracting herself in quotes being as like her trying to keep herself from having more Clarissa esque thoughts. But the fact you're pulling it out makes me feel like there's something more plot heavy. Like
yeah,
she's distracting herself from remembering that her dad's actually, you know, out there doing more proto molecule stuff or whatever,
on the ring station. Yeah,
Exactly,
no,
right.
I guess like yeah, no, I guess it jumped out to me that she kept having this thought specifically because she is happily throughout this chapter thinking about things like Ren. I mean, okay, actually, she's not happily thinking about Ren,
Yeah,
but
right.
like,
Like,
there's not a big topic that it feels like she's dancing around necessarily that we've seen her do before.
yeah, sure. I think she's always had this, the touching a hot stove reaction to things like Ren or
Yeah.
even Anna to an extent in this chapter, right? Like she shrinks away from it, and
Yes.
I think that's what I took this as being about.
Well, then I guess at the very least, it's noteworthy that whatever part
She's
of her
aware
brain,
enough of it, though.
yes,
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
it's it's making it up as an intrusive thought. That's a huge change.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, yeah, true. She keeps being, I think you called this out in the last chapter about her too, like she keeps having these moments of clarity. Yeah, it was the quote you mentioned about when she's comparing herself to the behemoth. It's
Yeah,
maybe just the emotion she's feeling making her feel this way. Like she keeps I guess she always had this kind of thing. She always had this slight moment of clarity thinking about who she was, and then like, stuff it down, stuff it down.
yeah. I mean, this is what's fascinating about Clarissa as a POV character. She's clearly like an intelligent person, who
Yeah,
has like tied herself in knots to like do the opposite of Anna, right, and fit things to a worldview that doesn't really make sense to any of her lived experiences.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, but yeah. Anyway, so this is what I was talking about before. This is when the assault on engineering actually starts, and basically
Hmm.
Ashford and team just kind of get to watch it happen.
Yeah.
And so Ashford's just like throwing a tanty. Um, but yeah, basically with the good guys having taken over engineering, Naomi immediately starts sabotaging the atmosphere on the command deck to try and like up their nitrogen, so they all just kind of fall asleep, and then they can just zip tie them.
Yep.
Um, and then Ashford is the rest of his team are about to like lose to this. Clarissa just kind of turns around and like shuts off the remote access to their air supply systems because, of
Yeah.
course, a ship like this has that.
And just quickly, again, in case we forgot about this, Ashford is a bad commander because as soon as Clarissa starts to save his life, he's like, Clarissa, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? Like, she's saving your life, buddy. Can you shut the fuck up?
And even she's like, would a thank you be too much to ask for?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like she's quickly learning why he was no longer in charge. But yeah, I do think it's delightful that Clarissa contributes here not through her violence that we kind of thought she would, like activating her implant and fucking breaking necks, but through her ship engineering knowledge. I was like
hmm
floored when this happened. I'm like, shit, man, that's so cool because it's like, well, I guess Melba was the ship engineer, but it felt like the least Melba like way that she could possibly contribute to this coup. And I think that's really fun.
Yeah, like the electrical engineering skills were not the point of Melba's existence.
Yeah.
That was the side effect of like her needing a reason to be out on this murder mission.
Yeah.
Um, but like it's increasingly clear that she became actually like a pretty decent electrical engineer.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, like you're right. Like I think what's funny about this being like a big part of the Melba that survived is like this wasn't meant to be part of it. Like she wasn't actually meant to start caring about being an engineer.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's I, again, it's like the balance between Melba and Clarissa feels so delicate. I think it's just very cool to keep seeing these little glimpses of like fragments breaking through.
Yeah, well, and I because I guess there there are parts of Melba that I would argue are better than Clarissa, and vice versa. Like Clarissa,
Mm.
if we're gonna accept this massive dividing line, Clarissa does less mass murders, although she's currently trying to even the playing field there. But like yeah, like Melba actually like despite herself had friends.
Mm.
It really seems like Clarissa being a Mao maybe didn't have the best social impact.
Mm.
Um, so like it's fun to think about the best of both worlds happening, like the good parts of Melba. Like, I don't think Clarissa had any useful skills like being able to affect a ship's like life support systems. Like Melba had
Yeah.
more actual skills than Clarissa kind of did.
Yeah. 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 Very interesting stuff.
Um, but yeah, basically with the extra breathing room that has come from Clarissa saving all their lives, Ashford has an idea, which is yes, Bull has the Martians, but he has the Martian power suits.
Yeah.
So they find some, basically some of their Belter crew who might fit in and start getting them suited up in the Martian power armor.
Yeah, and what an interesting idea this is, because of course we just spent last chapter talking about how the Martians were the fucking heroes of the day. And then the Martians last chapter also said, well, we did this, but we could do it so much easier, basically just by myself if we had the armor. And so they've kind of been bigging up how powerful this armor is, even more powerful than these super powerful Martian Marines. Um, so the idea that we're going to get the like man versus machine kind of showdown of, unskilled people in the armor versus skilled people without the armor. It's just a very fun kind of conflict to set up. I think it's great.
Yeah, like because ever since like it was a big thing in Bobby's perspective last book, nobody's ever questioned the efficiency of a Martian in this power armor. Like that is,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, you're right. It's so fun in this kind of battle for humanity's like essence right now that's going on the Behemoth to have like, okay, yeah, sure, but now we're going to find out is it the machine or the training that really makes the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um,
Um, but
so
yeah,
that's fun.
that's where we went off. this week's chapters. I guess we'll be back for one final episode, but that's all she wrote this week.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, and we'll be back soon for our final, our final episode, our final set of chapters for these 3 books.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the ending of what we've been calling season 1 as we try to figure out if we're going to do a season 2.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, we'll talk about that in our next episode, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Well, look, before we start, I guess, doing outro stuff, we should hit our discussion question.
Mm-hmm.
Which was, which character in fiction has had your favorite redemption arc? And we only got a couple of responses to this one because the episode was out so late, and we're recording this one a bit early. So we'll get into them, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Steve Living Room Co. had one. They mentioned Denny Swift from a book called The Art of Racing in the Rain. And the thing that flagged for me about this was this book is from the perspective of the dog.
Oh, that's fun.
Denny Swift, the character, it's from the perspective of his dog. And this book actually was turned into a movie as well. I haven't seen it, but I added the book straight to my to read list on Goodreads just because I was really interested to check it out. It seems like a very strange plot, but I'm keen. Apparently, it's a real tearjerker of a book, though. So, we'll see.
That makes sense, just because dogs are so good for that in media, aren't they?
Yeah, of course.
I Am Legend is one of the classics, obviously, but there's something about this. There's something the naive, unwavering, innocent loyalty dogs have so easily. It just makes it so easy for you to be heartbroken.
Yeah. I think coming back to the idea of redemption, though, the idea, I think it's not a unique idea to have a troubled character get redemption through the kind of guileless eyes of a child or whatever, or the naivety of a child. And so I think it's a really funny idea to have a really exaggerated version of that be through the I'm imagining even more guileless and naive eyes of a dog.
Yes.
I think it's really a really funny idea. So I'm keen to check this book out once I read my current batch of Jack Reacher books that I'm working through.
Yeah, no, God, I'm gonna have to. Okay, you have to send it my way when you're done.
Yeah, sure, we'll do.
But yeah, and then we also got a response from 40i2, who I guess brought up I don't know if this is referring to individuals or races because I haven't seen Babylon 5, but Londo and
they're
Gakar.
individuals. And
Okay.
Wow, Gakar is such a funny name to try and pronounce. Yeah, so I also am not super familiar with Babylon 5, but as I understand, it takes place on a diplomatic kind of hub, and the plots are all about diplomatic relations between all these different species, I guess.
See,
kind of if they took the Galactic
wanna...
Senate and made a whole show about it, I think
that
the
doesn't
vibe.
appeal to me, to be honest. I will say it feels like a show I really need to get around to watching because it's one of the few late 90s, early 2000s sci-fi shows that I haven't really dipped into, and that was when TV peaked.
Yeah, no, I have it definitely sorted into my head as in the same bucket as a lot of shows you've mentioned to me, like fucking Farscape or Stargate Atlantis or whatever, right?
Deep Space Nine, yeah,
totally. But hey, you should look up a picture of his name is Londo Malari, because I was not prepared for what this guy's fucking hair looks like. It is crazy.
Okay, googling it now. Oh wow.
Oh yeah. I could not take this guy seriously watching a show about it. A dramatic kind of show, I just couldn't. It's just too wild.
I love the eyebrows.
I think that's his race. Because I just saw an image of him standing next to another guy with the same hair. I think this is the hair and eyebrows that everyone on his race just kind of has, which is funny.
I love that. That's such a that's such a this era of sci-fi TV show thing to do. It's just okay, we're just gonna visually make this race all have a haircut so that the viewers can just know that that's that race.
Oh, they're called Centauri, presumably from Alpha Centauri. I don't know, but
That's a good
Anywho,
guess. Yeah. Um.
yeah, interesting. No, but the kind of point to this one was the idea that it was a redemption story for these two characters that was pretty heavily interlinked because they are kind of enemies. I guess they're diplomats from like opposing races or whatever of planets. So I
mm,
think it's an interesting idea to have redemption that is tied so deeply to your enmity with another character. I think that's quite fun.
yeah. Yeah, I like that. Like giving both of them such a strong persona. Uh. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and
Well,
especially because, like, for situations where it's like, Melba has tried to kill Holden, he's the protagonist of the book series, so we're
yeah.
set up to dislike Melba or whatever, right? Like, she's clearly an antagonist. But if it's a more complex situation where it's these two races who are against each other and we kind of
Mm,
don't necessarily like either of them, the redemption angle is, I think, a bit more interesting because it's not like they've wronged us, the audience. They've wronged each other, and they're both kind of enemies to us.
yeah.
I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And like, yeah, really fascinating. Like, it makes me want to like finally get around to watching this show.
Yeah,
Um.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, just speaking of like Clarissa and Holden, we forgot to call out. It's so fucking funny that like when Melba is watching the footage of
Mm,
the goodies taking engineering, she
yeah.
immediately clocks
She clocks Holden.
which one's Holden,
Yeah,
just because she's like, "Yep, I've spent so long obsessed with him, I can pick him in an
you can pick
instant."
him from a lineup straight up. Yeah, but I was kind of impressed with her. She didn't have any moment of like, God, I want to get down there and blast his head off. Like she didn't revert to her, her hatred crusade against Holden, which I thought was fun.
No, I think at one point she describes tracking Holden and Naomi in the fight as like watching your watching a TV show where you know some of the actors playing minor characters, so you're trying to like follow what those minor characters are doing.
Mm.
Which is a huge step up from murdering.
Yeah. Yeah. So good job, Clarissa. Anyway.
Um, but yeah, okay. Here's a question: since we had to cut this discussion question short time wise,
Yes.
what's your answer to this one, Ruben?
That's so interesting. I don't know that I have a good answer to it off the top of my head. Although I was thinking about this earlier today, and I'm sorry to keep bringing these up, but I swear to you, it's the only book series I'm reading at the moment. I was thinking about in one of the Jack Reacher books, actually the one that was adapted into the movie with Tom Cruise. The plot is about a sniper who was in the military with Jack Reacher, and um, he kind of saw red and killed a bunch of people. Kind of, I think they were civilians, right? But because his unit was like not meant to be there or whatever,
Mm,
it was all kind of swept under the rug. And so he got this. Reacher investigated him and had to drop the case. Was told to drop the case and said to him, "If you ever do anything like this again, I will come and kill you." Right. And the plot of this book is, whatever, 10 or 15 years later, it appears this sniper has gone on a killing spree again, right? And Reacher comes to
yeah.
try and put him down, but it turns out there's more to the story. And it's this very fascinating idea of like, it's interesting to have a character who we meet 15 years after they have done the worst thing they're ever going to do in their life. And they've spent the rest of this time being so miserable, but have tried to move on from it, or like not move on from it because they're still suffering from like the effects of it, but ensure they never do anything like that again. And they've succeeded for 15 years, spoiler alert, I guess, but there's more reasons behind the killing spree than what it initially appears.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that's a really fascinating idea. I was thinking about that. I think it's a really fascinating idea to see someone have the worst thing they're ever going to do be the background to the story, and you meet them 10 or 15 years later. I mean, there are other characters who have similar things, right? Like I've been watching The
Mm,
Pit, and there's a season
yes.
2, and there's a character who's going through something similar there. It's a theme that's in, I think, Slow Horses a little bit as well, which is a show that I love. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, stories that don't end with villains doing these things, but continue to feel the impacts of, okay, how does this person's life carry on after this? I think is, yeah, it's just fascinating to me. So I have a few options that I really like, but I can't pick one where I'm like, this is a redemption arc that I love, other than maybe like whatever Zuko. But that's like a go-to
Yeah.
answer, I think.
Yeah. Zuko's such a yeah. Sorry, I hilariously decided to Google this. I was like
Yeah. Okay.
and like I found this article that like I hope it was written by an AI just
Okay.
because
Hit me
like
with it. Yep. Yep. Yep.
yeah. Also, just like this is the 11 best movie villain redemption arc.
Okay.
Number one, Darth Vader.
Okay. Does he have a redemption arc?
Yeah, arguably,
Kinda. I mean, he like betrays the Emperor, and then
yeah,
obviously we get Hayden Christensen and young Anakin, but that's not really a redemption arc because that's beforehand.
no,
So,
yeah.
if anything, it's the opposite. But all right.
In the eyes of the Force and his son, he redeems
Sure,
himself.
he
I think
gets
that's
to be a
about
Force
it.
ghost, which only seems to happen to
Yeah.
the good characters. So that's maybe the universe commenting on his morality and being like, "Yeah, you're okay, buddy."
Um,
Wait,
but
hold
okay,
on. Do Force ghosts? Can baddies be Force ghosts?
yeah, I think I watched like the Clone Wars show a couple of years ago, and
Mm.
I think it was actually only like Qui-Gon Jinn who invented being a Force ghost. Basically, I think he was
Oh,
like the
okay.
first one.
Oh, okay. So it's his
But it's like
special tech that he just taught to his friends.
yeah, I think yeah, I think so. It was weird. I remember not really understanding it, but that's kind of
Sure.
how like Star Wars shit be. Like it's a mess.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
but okay, so
All right,
the
next one.
third one on this list is so, it's just I can't believe somebody would write this. The T-800 from Terminator 2.
Okay. Isn't the whole point that
It's just a different robot.
it's a different thing? Yeah.
It's just-
Because it's the T1000 when in T2, right?
wait. I'm sure the whole thing is it's a different robot. It's just got the same like
And
design.
like time travel and stuff. Yeah, okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah, maybe it was written by a T1000, as you say, by a robot.
But then two more down, and we've got a fucking great funny answer.
Mhm.
The Grinch from How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
No, that's a good answer, actually. I'm on board with that. That's an iconic redemption arc. Yeah, that is maybe the. Oh no, you know what? Who's the most iconic redemption arc? It's fucking Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge. That's the OG redemption arc, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Who's the next one?
Boromir from Lord of the Rings.
Okay, I don't know if that's really a redemption arc.
Doctor Octopus from Spider-Man 2. This person
also
needs to
doesn't
out
get a
more.
redemption arc. Bad. He just has one moment of clarity before he dies. That's not a redemption arc.
Okay. Roy Batty from Blade Runner.
Again, just a moment of clarity before he dies. That doesn't count as a redemption arc.
Yeah. Okay. And then they finish the list up with Zuko, which is like,
Yeah. Well,
again,
that's a classic. That's a classic.
it's a freebie.
Yeah. Yeah,
like on the redemption bingo boards,
exactly
Zuko's the free space.
I was going to say that's the free space. Yeah, no, I'm interested to hear more about this question because I think it's something that I want to think more about in the fiction that I consume. So please do feel free to. We're not doing a new discussion question because to go behind the curtain for a second, we're going to record our next episode in about 3 days due to some schedule wackiness. So we're not going to be having a new discussion question, but if people are interested, I would still love to hear more answers to this question. So feel free to put in more details of your redemption arcs in the discussion thread for this episode and leave a bit more about why you found it interesting. Because, I mean, I kind of looked up The Art of Racing in the Rain and Babylon 5 to try and get a bit more detail on it, but I am interested to hear more about like what stands out about it to you. So, yeah. Keep it rolling.
Can I throw you a speculative answer I have for this one?
Okay.
Like as in there's an ongoing piece of media that we both consume.
Yes. The newest season of Taskmaster. You want to see Kumail Nanjiani get his redemption arc?
No. Alex Horn, he's going to be the hero of season 20.
No, that's not going to happen. Yeah, sorry.
I'm locking this in as a prediction here and now. Vox from Has Been Hotel.
Interesting.
Interesting. And look, I mean, we're talking about a completely different show here, so I guess sorry if you don't watch the show, but my prediction is
some real threatening baddies is what that show needs for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, but yes, now we're back. This is where I'm going to edit the episode back in because we're done talking about Has Been spoilers.
Yeah. If you want to hear that, you got to go to the Patreon.
I'm not uploading it to the. So yeah, like Ruben said, if you want to give us more of your own answers to these questions, hit us up in the discussion thread. But there will be no official question.
Yeah. Yeah. But you can still, leave your thoughts in the discussion thread. Hey, while you're surfing the web, why not leave us a review on your podcasting platform of choice? That's a fun thing to do if you would like. And you can also check out our Blue Sky, where we'll post about more scheduling snafus. That's the place to find them.
God, I hope not. But I do post when the episodes are out there, so it's a good way to stay on track. I've been talking about doing that for ages, but now I'm actually doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, don't forget about doofmedia.com. That's the website where this show lives. It's a website where all the other shows live. Like Matt and Scott have been fucking killing it with like getting interviews with like Flanagan and co recently. So if you're not following that show, go check it out now.
Yeah. And if you want to support all the shows on the Doof Media Network and get the uncut discussions of Has-Been Hotel, then become a patron. Go to patreon.com/doofmedia.
But aside from that, we will see you all on the 27th of April for our Abaddon's Gate and Season 1 finale.
Yeah. Bye.